Hello YouTubers, my name is X Factor and welcome to Battlefield Hardline. My first impressions in the background is going to be a pretty clutch round of blood money. The difference between the winner and loser was a split second and $100,000. Most of you guys already know I'm part of a program called Game Changers. Visceral and EA took us out to their headquarters to play Hardline a couple weeks ago. We then did an extensive Q&A where Thad and Steve and several other the developers and team chimed in, asking us counter questions to our feedback. They took some pretty furious notes. Then most recently we show up to this event and get to capture the gameplay that you're seeing now. They made a ton of changes based on our feedback. They also shared their vision with some things that would fit and some things that wouldn't fit. So I'm going to break it all down, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Starting off with quite a bit of ugly if you look at the actual quality of the video on your screen right now. I just set everything to low because I got the random potato PC in the room. 30 FPS to 40 FPS in big gunfights. Then of course screen tearing because I had to use an external capture card because my external hard drive wouldn't work properly with the way things were set up. So let's talk about some good. HUD clutter, something that's plagued us in Battlefield 4 horrifically, and the developers have yet to do anything about it. Visceral has. As I'm hopping and skipping around in hipfire position, I see the friendly vault, the neutral site vault to my left and now behind me, then of course the enemy vault all the way behind me. When I go ADS, all of that disappears. So if I'm stacked up on objectives, go ADS, the only thing I'm going to see is other friendly players, enemy players that are spotted, then maybe this trip mine right here that I have to be really careful of. If I just walk up to the thing, it's going to kill me if I don't shoot it or pre-nade it. Now let's talk about one of the most controversial things ever to hit the Battlefield franchise, starting with Battlefield 3 and then most recently with Battlefield 4, and that's suppression. And depending on how you feel about this subject, this could either be good or bad. For the most part, suppression has been completely removed from Battlefield Hardline. There is no random optic sway, added recoil, and I don't believe there's added spread, and there's most certainly not random deviation. But to counter all that, all the guns across the board have much more recoil than their counterparts in Battlefield 4 or Battlefield 3. I think it'll be a pretty big surprise the first time you jump in Hardline and handle some of the weapons. Again, any of this can change at any point in time, but that's how it stands right now. Now, let's talk about another good and bad scenario. Hardline is based on Battlefield 4 and Frostbite 3. Remember the launch from Battlefield 4? It was horrific. The client wasn't stable, the servers weren't stable, the hit registration was a joke, and there was a million bugs in the game. But it's slowly been improved upon, which brings me to the good point of this. It's built on Battlefield 4 and the Frostbite 3 engine, which is tied into CTE. So as the BF4 client has become more stable, Frostbite 3 has become more stable. This is the building blocks that Hardline is using. Stability was not an issue. Both events, both trips, not a single crash from myself or anybody else in the room. Here's another set of topics that's plagued Battlefield 4 up until recently: hit registration and tick rate. Absolutely abysmal until the CTE servers came out, made some tweaks, and those finally just went live. Everybody has the ability to go 30 up and 30 down with their tick rate, which has helped you feel the damage, be able to react to the damage, but it's also decreased the time to kill for those eagle eyes out there. The bad news is this. For this build, which we were early in June, we were on the old tick rate. That's my belief, the old 30 and 10. The good news is this. The Hardline and Visceral teams share offices and they make contributions to the CTE results. Anything that comes as a positive net gain from CTE on the Frostbite 3 engine, including the 30-30 tick rate, will be included for Hardline. I simply don't think, based on Thad's reaction, that they had enough time to include that last second CTE patch with the Hardline version that we played at this event early in June. When it comes time to unlocking weapons and attachments or anything for vehicles, it's all about stacking cash. The system to unlock things has completely changed in Battlefield Hardline. And in my opinion, that's for the good. In Battlefield 3 and also Battlefield 4, you had to grind out tons of kills on specific maps or game modes to unlock specific weapons. Battlefield 4, you had to unlock battle packs. Love the Coyote optic? Oftentimes, it was in the last battle pack. Well, in Hardline, it's different. Every time you do something that awards you experience, you're going to start gaining cash, which you'll see in the lower right-hand corner above my ammo and health count. You could use this cash to buy anything you want. Don't want to grind out some crazy weapon? You don't have to in Hardline. You simply purchase it. Want Coyote Optic, easy and cheap across the board for everything? You simply buy it. It's that simple. Gone are the days of mindless killing over and over again to get all the attachments unlocked for specific weapon. Now you can just buy the ones that you really want to use. Now let's talk about some of the gadgets. This is a fresh twist on the Battlefield franchise, and it can also be seen as gimmicky. You've got the Ballistic Shield, which in Battlefield Hardline protects your back if you're not equipping it. The stun gun, which can incapacitate you. Of course, we've got the grappling hook, which expands the playfield vertically. The zip line, and then, of course, the Survivalist, which is a self-revive if you're the operator, also known as a medic. It instantly gives you the opportunity to revive yourself. You can either do it or wait a couple seconds for the bad guys to look the other way, go through the 4 or 5 second animation before you can shoot, simply get out of town or shoot them in the back. The only way to deal with somebody with Survivalist is to either kill them initially with a headshot or shoot them a couple more times once they hit the ground. If they die in a safe spot like a ledge and you didn't hit them with the headshot, expect them to pop up in a couple seconds. You're more than likely hurt. He's going to pop up with 100% health, and that's not exactly fair. At the end of the day, after playing with Survivalist and playing against it for around 8 hours between 2 different sessions, I don't like the way it affects gameplay. I simply don't believe it should be in the game. The Ballistic Shield works in one of two ways. When it's not equipped, it acts as a turtle shell and actually protects your back. You don't even have to get it out for it to be effective. Running with a fat stack of cash, well, your back's protected unless there's a vehicle or RPG. If shit's starting to hit the fan in front of you, bust it out, go into lockdown mode where you're crouched down and they can't shoot your feet and they can't shoot your head. That's a new dynamic that we're going to be getting used to in not only Hardline, but Battlefield 4 as well, and only time will tell how that plays out. I will tell you this, you can easily kill them with grenades, C4, and any vehicle in the game. The grappling hook partnered with the zipline also expands the verticality of gameplay. Not only what's in front of you, but also what's on top of you and multiple buildings that you have to worry about. If they get up on a tall building via grappling hook or elevator, they can easily zip down to anything that's lower than them. Now let's talk about something else I have an issue with in Battlefield Hardline, and that's sounds. Enemy footsteps are non-existent. It's extremely hard to hear them even if they're right on top of you. And even vehicles. Hardline is a game that you're going to get run over a lot simply because there's a ton of transport vehicles and they're extremely fast. Well, if a muscle car is barreling down the street, you should be able to hear it more than 10 feet away, let alone a helicopter that sneaks up on you from about 20 feet away. You should be able to hear these sounds much further away, and then some of the sounds are a little bit glitched and choppy at times. So what's your final thoughts, X Factor? Did you have fun? Did you enjoy it? And the answer is yes, and it was against my preconceived notion. When I was first invited to this event by EA and by Visceral, I was shaking my head. Criminals versus SWAT? Good guys versus bad guys? Cop cars? What? There's no way. Even sitting with the developers on the first trip watching cutscenes and listening to their vision, I wasn't sold. I was actually really pissed off. And then I played the game, the multiplayer, especially on the second trip when they made a bunch of tweaks to the core mechanics, the gunplay, and talked about how the netcode is going to be whatever CTE has brought up as the best and brightest at the time. There are so many great moments in this game, oh shit moments, and of course, great gunfights. And I'm one of those people that I'm all about putting the shooter back in the shooter. Not a whole lot of grenade spam in this game, and the skill level has been increased with added recoil and the removal of suppression. At the end of the day, it's up to you whether you pick up this title, but what I can tell you is you should watch some multiplayer footage, watch people live streaming beta that get into it, and then do some more research and make a decision. The game is a blast to play, and in my opinion, a fresh twist on the franchise. And I really believe, based on where CTE is at right now, with the stability of where we're at with Battlefield 4 and what I witnessed out there, we should have a pretty safe launch. Let's cross our fingers. I don't think DICE, Visceral, or EA can repeat the debacle that was Battlefield 4. As always, YouTubers, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. That clutch win, though. See you guys soon.